only through which, Hare Krishna, we are already live. So only through which one can access the mercy of the spiritual master. And as aspiring devotees, all of us, we also need to learn this specific art. So this is the very purpose of the kirtan that we have in the beginning, and this is the very purpose of the prayers that we try to chant as attentively as possible, Mangala Charan prayers, where we offer our respectful obeisances to all the Guru Parampara, including the Goswamis, remembering their glories in terms of establishing the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and begging for their mercy. And then we can expect some sort of clarity, some sort of understanding in these mysteries of these matters that we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam. So today the session will be a bit shorter because what I was planning to do, I could do only for first around 3 odd verses to get the details, few reference points supporting those, and few we would discuss additional as part of our discussion. Okay. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's on this point, that how we should all be very proactive in contributing positively to be of positive use, to be of some service to all the devotees who are participating in this discussion. And inadvertently, as much as possible, we should try to avoid doing disservice to the devotees. So let's start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtapraeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Om Agyanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, welcome everyone to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav session. So, till now, we have covered first four chapters in this second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which has detailed discussion, second canto and third canto, about Sarga and Visarga, the process of primary and secondary creation. So in that, we have covered first four chapters till now, where in the first chapter we saw various verses till text 11, where Shukadev Goswami explains the superiority of the process of Bhakti Yoga, how it is the ultimate path for perfection for all types of persons who are who may be carrying material motivations, having material desires, or who may be completely free of material desires, or even those who are totally fixed towards achieving liberation. For all these classes of people, Shukadeva Goswami recommends Bhakti Yoga. And then, in order to attend to the needs of those specific audience who are engaged in performing other in pursuing other paths of spiritual realization, including the path of Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Marga, etc. Shukadev Goswami goes into explaining the dharana, which is the process of meditation, dharanashray, the ultimate object of meditation that is followed by the Ashtanga yogis. And he explains in chapter number 2 and 3 that specific details about Ashtanga yogi, how he abstains his senses from indulging in the sense objects, and he follows so many processes in terms of the sitting postures, in terms of the breathing regulations, in terms of meditating on Virat form of the Lord, Virat Rupa of the Lord, for those yogis who are still attached to material enjoyment, whereas those yogis who have completely detached themselves from the path of material enjoyment. Shukadev Goswami also discusses in detail about process of meditating upon the Lord as the super soul within the heart. And then we see a secondary set of questions being posed by Maharaj Parikshit to Shukadev Goswami by asking him to describe how the Lord's external energy works before going into the details of the workings of the Lord's internal energy. So, how does the Maya potency of the Lord work? Parikshit Maharaj wanted to understand that, especially through the process of creation of this cosmic manifestation, before proceeding towards Lord's transcendental pastimes, which would come a bit later in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 10, so on and so forth. And we see after Shukadev Goswami was posed these questions by Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadev Goswami, he offers many wonderful prayers to the Lord, describing various limbs of devotional service, starting with Kirtanam, and glorifies one who glorifies the Lord through various means, either through chanting his names as japa or kirtan, or Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, or visiting the temples, taking darshan of the deities, and so many ways. If one glorifies the Lord, then what is the benefit? And then Shukadev Goswami explains the potency of taking shelter of the pure devotees of the Lord by explaining that how even the fallen conditioned souls, including Kirata, uh, Pulinda, Andhra, and so on and so forth, how even these classes of people can perfect their lives by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And just before beginning to directly address the questions that Maharaj Parikshit had posed with reference to creation, uh, last part of chapter number 4, we find that Shukadev Goswami, he specifically gives reference to similar conversation previously that previously happened between Narada Muni and Lord Brahma, the first created beings. So in the last verse of chapter number 4, Shukadev Goswami mentions My dear king, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject. On this subject means the subject of primary and secondary creation, what Parikshit Maharaj is interested in understanding. Exactly apprised him on this subject as it had been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son. That means even Shukadev Goswami is referring to the predecessor Acharya to form, to structure his answer to Parikshit Maharaj's query. And in turn, he is also confirming to Maharaj Parikshit that even Lord Brahma did not answer these inquiries by Narada Muni on his own, but he also referred to what was spoken by the Lord to Lord Brahma as part of the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, how Lord had explained it to him. Lord Brahma also explained it to Narada. And I, that means Shukadev Goswami, will be taking that answer as a reference to structure my response to you, Maharaj Parikshit. As it had been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. So the word that is used in text 25 is Veda Garbha, Veda Garbho. Veda Garbho means that personality who was instructed or impregnated with Vedic knowledge right from his very birth. So with this as the background, we will start discussion on this particular chapter. So next chapter is basically continuation with Lord Brahma's Brahma Narada Samvad as the reference. Shukadev Goswami begins to answer Maharaj Parikshit's question. So here even in the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes that Shukadev Goswami therefore prayed for the mercy of the Lord so that he might be able to repeat the very same message that was spoken directly by Lord to Brahma, or what was directly spoken by Brahma to Narada. So we see from these great souls, they are not depending on their own faculties, or they are not depending on their own facilities to remember the things and present it as they are, but they are totally depending on the mercy of the Supreme Lord to be able to narrate these discussions. So we will start with a quotation by Srila Prabhupada. And this particular chapter is divided into few sections. This you can find directly in Subodhini, where there are set of 6 questions that Narad Muni asked Lord Brahma, and we would be very surprised to know that how come Narad Muni may have any misconceptions or false convictions, but Lord Brahma corrects one such false conviction or conception that Narad Muni has as part of his response. And we will see what are these questions and the respective responses. And then there is a description of the Jiva Tattva versus the Vishnu Tattva, and description of Virata Rupa. So in our earlier discussion, as part of Canto 2 earlier chapters, we had mentioned that in Canto 2 itself, we have almost about 5 times, if I recollect correctly, there are descriptions of Virata Rupa, about the universal form of the Lord, and we have already seen a detailed description of Virat Rupa by Shukadev Goswami in chapter 1 of Canto 2, and we would see next description as part of Brahma Narada Samvad. So we'll go through that as it comes. So this is not to scare, but bit technical chapter, but as much as possible we would try to take support from various quotations by Srila Prabhupada, various examples that Srila Prabhupada and his disciples have given to understand the subject matter. So let's start with Srila Prabhupada's quotation. Anybody would like to read through Prabhuji's Mataji's? Please raise your hand. Gita Pradeep Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Dandavat.
Srila Prabhupada Vacha, one should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the mind of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instructions of his students. But such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. Bhagavad Gita 17.15 purport. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that whatever we speak, it should be pleasurable, but at the same time, it should be truth. And how it should be spoken? By taking reference from the scriptures, from the previous spiritual authorities. So one time, I was trying to actually get reference from existing sites and conversations of Srila Prabhupada, but I couldn't exactly pinpoint and find that conversation to give a reference. But one of Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciples, His Holiness Hridayananda Das Goswami Maharaj, he is not an ordinary devotee. He is one of the personalities, one of the three devotees who translated and gave purports to remaining Srimad Bhagavatam, starting from Canto 10, chapter 13, if I am not wrong, around 64th verse or something was the one that Srila Prabhupada translated and gave purport, and then he departed from this world. So after Srila Prabhupada's departure from this world, a group of three devotees, they continued this service of translating and giving purports to conclude the overall Bhagavatam. And these three set of devotees were His Holiness Hridayananda Das Goswami Maharaj, His Grace Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, and His Grace Dravida Prabhu. So these three devotees, they came together to complete the remaining service of their spiritual master. So this particular devotee, Hridayananda Das Goswami Maharaj, in his initial days in Krishna consciousness, whenever he would go to speak in universities, etc., he would have a small earphone stuck in his ear, and on that earphone he would be hearing Srila Prabhupada's class. And because devotees were very new, whatever little bit they knew about Krishna consciousness was solely based on what they had heard from Srila Prabhupada. And this particular devotee, Of course, that time I don't think he was a sannyasi yet, but this particular devotee, he used to speak to the college student what he would hear Srila Prabhupada speak in his ears in the form of his recorded lecture. And devotees, they found it very strange, and they took the matter to Srila Prabhupada that is it proper? Sorry, Prabhuji. So they took it to Srila Prabhupada, is it proper? And Srila Prabhupada confirmed that it was totally fine, it was all right. Srila Prabhupada said, whatever we speak in Krishna consciousness, it should be based on what we have heard from our authorities, and it should also conform to the scriptures. So, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So, here in this specific purport of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada is saying that we should only speak that which is upheld by the scriptures and which is conforming to the discussions and instructions from the predecessor acharyas, and it should be pleasing to the ears of the audience. Pleasing doesn't mean that we satisfy their whims, but it should not agitate their minds. That means we should see that the person is willing and ready to accept those messages. If the person is not willing or is in a challenging mood, better to keep quiet and not agitate and disturb the minds of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It should not be disturbing the minds of this audience if they are not willing to accept. So, in this regard, one time around 2003, late 2003 and 4, time when the deities of Mayapur, Panchatattva deities, were being cast in a place in Tamil Nadu called Kumbakonam. The main pujaris of Mayapur temple, His Grace Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangri Prabhu, they used to visit Bangalore regularly, and from Bangalore they would travel to Kumbakonam. And while in Bangalore, we got plenty of their association. So one time I was also very
Krishna Prabhu, the volume is a little low. Can you keep the mic closer? I changed two things.
okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hare Krishna. So in Bangalore, whenever Prabhu used to visit, I was very naive, and one time, out of spiritual enthusiasm, over enthusiasm, I asked Prabhu that, Prabhu, please give me some instruction. But Jananivas Prabhu, being such a senior devotee in the moment, he immediately asked, who is your spiritual master? And that time, I don't think I was initiated. I got initiated in 2004, March. And I told him, while I am not yet initiated, but I am aspiring to take initiation. Uh, from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who I was aspiring at that time, and I was not initiated. And then Prabhu explained to me that taking instruction from a senior devotees is not that casual a thing that we ask them and they would immediately give. First, a devotee will check thoroughly whether this person who is asking anything from me, whether he or she is ready and willing to accept. Only then that teacher will give the instructions. So Srila Prabhupada is also saying that whatever instruction the teacher gives to the student, they should be given in a way that the teacher has adhikar, the teacher has the confidence that his instructions will be accepted wholeheartedly. He should not speak if the student for any reason is not willing to accept those instructions, which would further agitate his mind. So we will proceed with this as the background. And there is also a supporting verse. There are actually many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, but one such supporting verse comes in the 12th canto of uh, Srimad Bhagavatam. Gita Mataji, just read the translation.
Yes, Prabhu. Knowledge coming in disciplic succession. text 12.13.19. I meditate upon that pure and spotless supreme absolute truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who in the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to the sage Narada, who narrated it to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Srila Vyasa revealed this Bhagavatam to the greatest of sages, Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva mercifully spoke it to Maharaja Parikshit. SB 12.13.19. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here also we see, and in fact, this particular verse translation and purport is what Srila Prabhupada has used as a reference in text 25 purport of the previous chapter, chapter number 4. And this point we had discussed earlier, that how Prabhupada was on such level of understanding of the scriptures that while he was giving purport in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he could refer to a verse meaning and purport from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which had not even come into existence as far as the publication was concerned. And ultimately Prabhupada was not there on this earth when this particular translation was written to 12th canto. Srila Prabhupada could only finish till 10th canto and 13th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. But Srila Prabhupada does refer to this particular verse translation as part of text 25 commentary in the previous chapter. So with this as the background, let us go to the verse text number 1 of this particular chapter. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Usha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Text 5.1. Narada Uvacha.
Narada Uvacha.
Deva Deva Namastestu.
Deva Deva Namastestu.
Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja.
Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja.
Tadvijaniti Yajnanam.
Tadvijanihi Yajnanam.
Atma Tattva Nidarshanam.
Atma Tattva Nidarshanam. So before we go to the translation, here Narad Muni is asking Lord Brahma, because Shukadeva Goswami is referring to conversation between these two great personalities. Deva Deva Namastestu, that obeisances to you, that personality who is the Deva Deva, who is the greatest amongst all the Devatas. He is a Deva amongst the Devas. He is the greatest of all the Devatas. Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja. And he is the creator of all the beings in this cosmic manifestation. So he is the procreator, so secondary creator. Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja. Tat Vijanihi Yat Jnanam. And because he knows this knowledge of past, present and future, what type of knowledge? Atma Tattva Nidarshanam, that knowledge which can delineate or which can explain about Atma Tattva. So Atma refers to both the soul as well as the super soul based on the context. And at some places it can also refer to mind, etc. So that knowledge which can explain about Atma Tattva, about the knowledge of the soul and the super soul, please reveal that knowledge to me, my dear Deva Deva. So Brahmaji is both the father as well as the spiritual master of Narada Muni. Yes, Mataji, translation.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Narad Muni asked Brahmaji, O chief amongst the demigods, O firstborn living entity, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please tell me that transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and the super soul.
Purport.
Purport. Therefore, asking for...
You can read the complete purport, Mataji. It's
okay,
small. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. The perfection of parampara system or the path of disciplic succession is further confirmed in the previous chapter. It has been established that Brahmaji, the firstborn living entity, received knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord, and the same knowledge was imparted to Narada, the next disciple. Narada asked to receive the knowledge, and Brahmaji imparted it upon being asked. Therefore, asking for transcendental knowledge from the right person and receiving it properly is the regulation of the disciplic succession. This process is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2. The inquisitive student must approach a qualified spiritual master to receive transcendental knowledge by surrender, submission, submissive inquiries, and service. Knowledge received by submissive inquiries and service is more effective than knowledge received in exchange for money. A spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from Brahma and Narada has no demand for dollars and cents. A bona fide student has to satisfy him by sincere service to obtain knowledge of the relation and nature of the individual soul and the super soul. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we see Srila Prabhupada specifically list 3 different criteria for a sincere student to receive knowledge from the spiritual master. And what are these 3 criteria? Surrender, submissive inquiries, and service. 3S. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned that only when the student is approaching the spiritual master in this mood of submission and rendering service to him, then the transfer of knowledge can be very effective. And an authoritative spiritual master, he is not in, he is basically is not, he doesn't demand exchange of money or dollars and cents from the students in response for in return for giving knowledge to the student. So we see that famous example of the famous donor, famous disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who had donated for constructing the Bagh Bazaar temple, which was a magnificent temple constructed with very premium quality marble at that particular point in time at the beginning of the 20th century. And when I forgot the name of this disciple, but we had mentioned it in the slides earlier and I can find out again. But this particular devotee was sitting in the class with Abhay Babu, Srila Prabhupada in householder ashram at that particular point in time. And he was, while Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving class, this devotee was discussing something with Srila Prabhupada and which was causing disturbance when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, not being bogged down with the fact that this particular devotee had donated a big amount of money in constructing that particular temple, he immediately stopped his class and chastised these 2 devotees, including this devotee who was speaking, plus Abhay Babu, who this devotee was speaking with. And he told that particular devotee that you think by giving a big sum of money you have purchased me by donating for this temple. And to Abhay Babu, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that do you think that you know everything that I am speaking? And if that is the case, why don't you sit here and I come and sit in the audience? And both these devotees were totally taken aback and they felt very embarrassed about their own behavior, which was disturbing Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So the point is, a proper spiritual master who is coming in the line of authorized disciplic succession, they are not expecting any dollars and cents for exchange of the knowledge that they are delivering. And on the other hand, a sincere student, he approaches a spiritual master with the mood of surrender, submissive inquiries, and service. Just like in the case of Srila Prabhupada, so many times he was very fond of remembering how his own spiritual master totally defeated him in his misconceptions. When Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke about spreading the message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Abhay Babu protested by saying that who would listen this message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when we are under foreign subjugation, we are under the subjugation of British rule, that let us first try to get independence for our country, and then we will preach this message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he contested that particular idea by saying that things in this world are constantly changing. The politicians, the material influence, and the any specific rule on a specific country, it can be one today and it can be a totally different tomorrow. So these things are always changing and always in a flux in material world. But Krishna consciousness, the message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it carries much more weight and importance, so it can't be held up, it can't be put on hold till the time these material situations change to one's liking or to one's favor. So this message, spreading of the message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, needs to proceed irrespective of whatever the material circumstance or situation can be. And Srila Prabhupada very fondly used to remember how his spiritual master defeated his misconceptions. So, point is, a disciple approaches spiritual master in this mood of submission and service, and the spiritual master, he gives his knowledge to such a sincere student without any expectation of money in return, without any expectation of dollars and cents. Any question, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on this particular point? Hare Krishna. Is it clear for everyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
Clear,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. P.S. Murthy Prabhuji. Yes.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, I was thinking that in the beginning you said that knowledge gained by the means of without doing any material favor is the real knowledge, something like that. I mean, I can rephrase it properly if I think, Prabhuji, but I'm thinking on the thing I wanted to bring to your notice, Prabhu, is please clarify me. In this world today, knowledge is nobody departs with the knowledge unless and until some financial contribution is made. I was trying to study Yajurveda, Prabhu, and there is a fee that I need to pay. So how do we go about that?
So one thing, Prabhuji, what to speak of outside institutions, we can see even within our own movement, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we see multiple temples charging a nominal fee. So is that wrong? So the answer is no. Why? Because for their sustenance, like it is not the time of the year, earlier years or earlier age, where the brahmanas or the teachers would be totally maintained by society without even asking. So the situation not is such that all these services or the institutions can run without a material support from the society. So
Prabhu,
that
that's what I wanted to say, that the things have changed, the world has changed. The reality in Kali Yuga today is you need to make some contribution so that they can live their life happily.
I'll
That
come
is true.
I'll come to that point. So I'll just finish first. So that is one aspect of looking, but one difference is that all these teachers, they are not exactly relying on these particular methods of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam or teaching these courses as a means of their livelihood. If that donation is taken for that course to continue, then it is not considered as a means of sustenance, as a means of livelihood. So that is one aspect of looking at it. And even when this particular fees is charged, it is my firm belief and understanding and observation as well that if even in a normal setup, forget about the spiritual institutions, even in material setup, say for example school or college or any educational institution or class, if the students don't carry the requisite, Hare Krishna, Rasarangini Mataji, you can keep the camera off or you can be steady, Mataji. So if even in a normal educational institution setup, if the student is not carrying the minimum requisite respect for the teachers, then our observation is that it is very difficult for the transfer of knowledge to take place, even for material education. So it is imperative for the knowledge transfer to be effective from the teacher to the student, that the student must carry the mood of submission and service. Only then the knowledge can flow. Otherwise, to extract knowledge forcefully from the teacher is a modern phenomena, and as per the scriptural rules or injunctions, it won't happen. And coming back to your particular point of these institutions charging a fee, so as you also acknowledge it, if for the sustenance of the service itself they need to charge some minimum payment, then we should look at it in that particular perspective. Otherwise, that it will be very difficult for service to continue. So even in case of ISKCON Mangalore, as we see, Namanishta Prabhuji is very magnanimous. He is not charging any fee. But still, to run the temple, Prabhuji does need help and support. So we should consider it from that point of view, that for the continuity of the service, whatever we give is not exactly a means of sustenance or livelihood for them. Is that all right, Murthy Prabhuji? Hare,
Yes, Prabhu, that's a lot of help.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, what is definitely not authoritative, I can quote some of the, we don't want to take the names of the institutions, but there are some self-study courses and all. Just the name of that self-study course is titled such in Pune. There is a self-study course for competitive exams, and the title of that particular initiative or course is Eklavya Swadhyay Mala. So that itself denotes that what they want to say, that though Dronacharya did not agree to give knowledge to Ekalavya, he was very determined to get that knowledge of archery from Dronacharya. So he built a statue and tried to learn from that statue and gain expertise. But they don't acknowledge or understand the fact that while Eklavya was insisting on getting knowledge from Dronacharya, he neither carried that submissive mood nor had the responsibility. And as a result, that knowledge was misused. He misused that knowledge of archery to shot arrows into the mouth of a dog. And Dronacharya immediately understood that if such a person who doesn't carry the responsibility how the knowledge should be used, then it is very likely that the knowledge would be misused. And he also came from a specific background of tribe which who were very rebellious towards the Kuru rule, not really aligning themselves with the ruler from the Kuru dynasty who were ruling at that particular time, not paying taxes and sort of rebellious mentality. So as a result, Dronacharya asked him for a Guru Dakshina of giving his thumb. So point is, exchange of knowledge can only be effective if both Guru and the student, the teacher and the student, both are carrying conducive mentality. It can't be done in a challenging mood. So we'll proceed with this. Any other question or comments? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna. All right, let us proceed. Tarini Krishna Kanta Mataji, text 2.
Krishna Prabhuji Panchanga pronounce.
Dandos Mataji.
Yet Rupam Yet Adishtanam
Yad Rupam Yad Adhishtanam
Yet Shrishtam Idam Prabhu
Yata Srishtam Idam Prabhu
Yet Samstam Yet param yaksha
Yat
samskaram
param
yacha
tattatvam vata tatvatah.
Tadvatatatvataha.
Can you read the
Translation.
translation, please?
Yes.
Translation. My dear father, please describe factually the symptoms of this manifest world, what is its background, how it is created, how it is conserved, and under whose control is all this being done. Can you read the purport?
Yes, Manoj.
The manifest.
Complete purport you can read. The inquiries.
Okay, Prabhuji. Purport. The inquiries by Narada Muni on the basis of factual cause and effect appear very reasonable. The atheist, however, put forward many self-made theories without any touch of cause and effect. The manifested world, as well as the spirit soul, is still unexplained by the godless atheist through the medium of experimental knowledge, although they have put forward many theories manufactured by their fertile brains. Contrary to such mental speculative theories of creation, however, Narada Muni wanted to know all the facts of creation in truth and not by theories. Transcendental knowledge regarding the soul and the supersoul includes knowledge of the phenomenal world and the basis of its creation. In the phenomenal world, there three things are factually observed by any intelligent man: the living beings, the manifest world, and the unlimited control over them. The intelligent man can see that neither the living entity nor the phenomenal world are creations of
Chance.
Prabhuji. I didn't get the screen.
You didn't get the screen?
We can see, Prabhu.
I'll read, don't worry. The intelligent man can see that neither the living entity nor the phenomenal world are creations of chance. The symmetry of creation and its regulative actions and reactions suggests that the plan of an intelligent brain behind them. And by genuine inquiry, one may find out the ultimate cause with the help of one who knows them factually. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, if you could refer to the highlighted part, that there is a difference. The inquisitiveness and the inquiries and the questions are naturally there in the mind of a ordinary materialist as well as in the mind of a devotee. But the difference lies in what way a devotee wants to have his inquiries and the queries answered versus in what way the materialist want to have their queries and inquiries answered. So what do the materialists depend upon? They depend upon experimental knowledge in order to find the answer or in order to reach a conclusion. Whereas what do the person with a devotional mindset do to fulfill his set of inquiries or questions? They refer to the authorities. So here we find that Narada Muni is referring to his authority, who is nothing but his own father and spiritual master, Lord Brahma, to get answers to his questions. Whereas a atheist, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, they rely on experimental knowledge uh, in order to find the truth. And in the basic level course, Discover Yourself, we often used to give that example that Srila Prabhupada quotes, that a child who wants to know who his father is. So there are two ways. Either if the child wants to understand it based on his own scientific strength, then he can test each and every male of reproductive age at that particular point in time, which would probably take him many hundreds of years to validate all the males to know who his father is. But the authoritative way is just ask his mother who the father is, and she can 100% tell. So a devotee's way of fulfilling his inquiries is by referring to the authorities, whereas an atheist, a materialistic person's way of fulfilling his inquiries is through the process of experimental knowledge. And coming back to the verse, there are 6 different inquiries that Narada Muni poses to Lord Brahma in this particular verse. And which are these inquiries? Yat Rupam. Yat Rupam means, please describe unto me the characteristics of this universe. Yat Adhishthanam, that what is the background or shelter on which this cosmic manifestation is residing or resting upon. Then Yata Srushtam, how is this cosmic manifestation created? Yat Samstham, how is it conserved or dissolved? Now both these words, they might sound bit contradictory, that when we talk about conserved, that means how it is secured, how it is maintained, and how it is dissolved, that means how it is annihilated, how it is destroyed. So how do we understand that both these words mean the same thing? So say for example, how does the pralaya or dissolution of the cosmic manifestation happen? That the entire cosmic manifestation is inundated with water, and then the uh, planetary systems, they get submerged in that water. But we also understand at the end of life of Lord Brahma, all these cosmic manifestations, the Brahmanda, they enter into the pores on the body of Lord Mahavishnu. So although technically it may be called as dissolution, or that this specific brahmandas, they don't exist anymore once they enter into the body of Vishnu, the living entities as well as all the material ingredients, they are preserved in the form of mahatattva in the body of Mahavishnu. So that means while it is dissolved in one sense, all the creation is also conserved in the form of dormant shape called mahatattva, in which it lies in the body of Mahavishnu. So Yat Samstham means both how the cosmic manifestation is dissolved, at the same time secured within the body of Mahavishnu. And then fifth question that Narada Muni asks, which is in the third line, Yat Param, that means what does this cosmic manifestation depend upon? And Yatcha, what are the ingredients forming this cosmic manifestation? What are the ingredients of which this cosmic manifestation is composed of? So these are the 6 questions that Narad Muni asked Lord Brahma. Uh, is it may sound bit technical, but we will cover these questions one by one, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, as we go through the responses by Lord Brahma, which are quite detailed ones. But any question on this specific verse? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Lalita Guruji.
Prabhuji, earlier we had learned about there's annihilation and creation and annihilation.
Right.
We had a reference of spider. The analogy of spider was given. So we can remember that way, no, Prabhuji?
Can you explain that analogy slightly?
The spider makes its web by its own saliva. It creates as well as it takes it in also, like it dissolves also. It was given by in one of the purports, Prabhuji. Earlier I had read somewhere. So I'm just asking whether can we quote the same example in this also?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. And just that only there are different types of dissolutions, but as far as conservation is concerned, it is only at the end of life of Lord Brahma. So only at the end of life of Lord Brahma, which is nothing but the inhalation by Mahavishnu, that all these Brahmandas, they also entered into his body through the pores. Any other questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. And we also saw that beautiful purport in the last chapter, that some of these technical details, it may seem very dry or bit difficult to understand or remember for us. But we read in Srila Prabhupada's purport that a pure devotee of the Lord relishes this specific part of Bhagavatam as much as they relish Krishna's intimate pastimes with his gopi friends and so on and so forth. So if we may not be on that particular level to relish it at that particular platform, but at least we can accept it wholeheartedly to the best of our intellectual ability. We should not get bored, or we should not feel that this particular section is not of my type. Okay, we should try our level best to understand. So we will proceed to text number 3. Lalita Vinodini Mother, you want to recite, Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvam hetad bhavan veda
Sarvam hi etat bhavan veda
bhuta bhavya bhavat prabhuः
bhuta bhavya
Bhavat Prabhu
karamalakha vad vishvam
Karamalakavat
Vishwam
vijnanavasitam tava.
Vijnana Avasitam Tava.
So before we go to translation, here Narada Muni is addressing Lord Brahma. Why he is posing these inquiries to Lord Brahma? Sarvam hi etat bhavan veda. That he is saying that you are all knowing, you know all these details, all these 6 inquiries that I have made about cosmic manifestation. You are very well aware of this. Bhuta bhavya bhavat prabhu. Bhuta Bhavya. And why? Because you are the first born, and all this world, all this cosmic manifestation has come into existence through you. So you are aware of past, present, and future. And then he gives an analogy. Kara Amalaka Vat Vishwam. Amalaka fruit. This word we also here in Lord Krishna's pastime, and Srila Prabhupada, for simplicity, he translates it as a walnut dry fruit. So just like if one is holding a walnut fruit in one's hand, one knows it in and out. So similarly, this entire cosmic manifestation, because you are the creator, Brahmaji, you know past, present, and future. So you know for sure what all I have asked. Yes, Mataji, translation.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Father, all this is known to you scientifically because whatever was created in the past, whatever will be created in the future, or whatever is being created at present, as well as everything within the universe is within your grip, just like a walnut. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Purport. 3 principal items, namely the living being, the phenomenal world, and the controller, are all in the continuous action. It is past, present, future. And the direct manager is supposed to know everything of such actions and reactions as one knows about a walnut within the grip of one's palm.
You can continue the direct.
Okay. The direct manufacturer of a particular thing is supposed to know how he learned the art of manufacturing, where he got the ingredients, how he set it up, and how the products in the manufacturing process are being turned out. Because Brahma is the firstborn living being, naturally he is supposed to know everything about creative functions. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So Narada Muni is asking all these inquiries to Lord Brahma, being convinced of the fact that Lord Brahma knows past, present, and future. And in the subsequent verses, we will see how Brahma first clarifies to Narada Muni about his expectation, about Narada Muni's expectation about Lord Brahma, by saying that he knows only to the level that Lord Krishna reveals the knowledge to him, but he also doesn't know everything. So when we talk about misconception, you would have read in the chapter summary, what are these misconceptions of false convictions of Narada Muni? That he considered Brahma for that particular moment as being as good as God by knowing past, present, and future. Now, this particular word you would hear for quite a few great personalities, including Narada Muni sometimes, that he also is mentioned as knowing past, present, and future, or for Shukadev Goswami other times, that he also knows past, present, and future, or even for Vyasadev. But we should understand that all these great personalities know past, present, and future only to the extent that Lord Krishna reveals the knowledge to them. They don't know it in absolute sense. Only Lord Krishna knows past, present, and future in absolute sense. Nobody apart from Lord Krishna can know that. Like, for example, in Srila Vyasadev's glorification of Narada Muni, when Narada Muni is visiting his ashram, Vyasadev also mentions that you are just as good as Paramatma, who knows everything what is going on in this world, what has happened and what would happen in future. So these glorifications by the student for the teacher, we should understand that in actual reality, these authorities know past, present, and future only to the level that Krishna reveals them, not in a absolute sense. So Brahma would clarify this misconception of Narada, and then we'll respond these questions one by one. Respond to these questions. So we'll stop bit early, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, frankly, because I have not had a chance to go through the details of Brahma's answers. So next time we will continue. Hare Krishna. Any queries, any thoughts, any additional inputs anybody wants to share? Hare Krishna. All right. So thank you all very much. And Rasarangini Mataji, you want to continue with
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you can make me the host, and please do not end the meeting because
Sure,
exam
sure.
is going on. That is all.
Sure, sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 1 second.
Attendance.
You can stop YouTube, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, Mataji. 1 second. Stop live stream. Rasarangini Mataji, I'll make you the host if you can stop the live stream.
I'll do that, Prabhu, not an issue. That is why I asked. Hare
Okay, Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you all very much, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Vamcha kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Attendance is shared.
Attendance.
Yes, it's shared. It's shared, Mataji.
Radhika Mataji, the YouTube is still on, I think.
I'm trying to stop. Just 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll leave now. Thank you, Mataji's, Prabhuji's. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, still not stopped.
Hare Krishna, Lalita Mataji, can you stop live? I've
Yeah,
just made you the host.
I'll stop. Yeah.